surround me. Back and forth the county, just got deal with it all the same. Jack this motherfucker for his meal ticket. Pistol to his brain, put his thoughts in the open. My heads get that white right off me like lotion. And when they leave a nigga, they ain't broke, they broken. Everybody smell my blood like I'm smoking in the open. Tried ain't no way of hiding, it's too damn potent. Cup full of brown shit, it's going down, kid. You don't know me, cuz what the fuck you mean pound it? Get your whole town hit, bullets all around it. Stash in your drawers and the jeans coming down, kid. No homo, I'm all about the dough. You're already in the whip, it's too late for you to say no. Basic had you feeling like you're sitting in the go-go. Vodka on the ride, packed out parties, hold the car. Badass bitches losing time. They be coming by the block. I like my purple rolling brown. Like to cop it by the pound. Big gangsters all around. So when you hear that, it's going down.
If y'all get twisted,
I'm a motherfucking dreadlock.
They say my dope a hit, cause when they feel it, make their head rock. Too bad.
I'm back.
Yes.
I'm back.
And I'm actually sitting a post. That's how cool this show is.
Yeah,
We do it
well,
live, man. Look, boom.
You kind of half pay
All
attention
right.
most of the time anyway. You
Welcome to episode 18 of
This is-
Addicted to Film.
This is actually like episode 16 because the two that don't have me in them don't really count. They're like being comic books where they do like the one-off specials. They don't really count to the overall what?
That is Travis Hopson.
That's Tim Gordon.
Thank you. Oh,
and what I said still stands.
So they can see. Look. All right. What am I wearing right now? This looks like a football jersey. Tonight is the Hall of Fame game. The 8-time world champion, 4-time Super Bowl champions just put their 19th former player in the Hall of Fame. The New York Football Giants kick it off against the Buffalo Bills tonight. And that's all I'll say about that.
This is what you do when your team stinks.
Oh,
You
my
have
apologies.
to get all excited about
Watch
the Hall
this.
of Fame
My
game.
apologies. Foster in the back just held up. It's actually episode 19 of the show. Thank you, Foster.
Yes. That's exactly how it should start, with you being all loud and wrong. All right, so
Whatever, man. Before we get started, man, I just wanna thank the people who really came out in force for us last week. USA.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about all the people who tuned in the show with me not there.
No. I mean, we did have a huge listenership. But Travis, tell the people, man, where they can follow us on Twitter.
You can find us on Twitter at addicted2film and on Facebook at Addicted to Film, spelled the right way. So we're pretty easy
What's
to
the
find.
right way, man?
If you don't know the right way, you
No,
probably
I
don't
know the right way. I want them to know the right
You probably
way.
don't deserve to find it if you don't know how to spell.
Addicted to Film.
That's the right way.
The right way. The right way. What if there's somebody out there that couldn't spell and they were spelling it addicted TOOO?
What did I just say?
to film?
What did I just say? If you don't know how to spell it, you probably don't deserve to find
You
it.
are a butthead. But go ahead, Travis.
No, well, I mean, I'm happy to be back. I was gone last week. I don't know.
You were gone last week?
I don't know. I don't know if you recognize or not that I wasn't here.
I looked over there. It was a guy who was slightly
It was
overweight.
a brown person next to you, so you were just like, yeah, it's okay.
It wasn't you.
It didn't matter who
That
it was.
wasn't you.
It didn't matter which person of color who was here.
Thank you, Kevin Sampson last week, who has become the official guest co-host. Actually, I'm going to be off. Kevin Sampson will be back in here on August the 18th.
What?
Yeah, man, I'm going on a cruise, man. The cruise won't be back in town, so
We'll talk about
It'll be Travis and Kevin Sampson
Well,
again.
the thing is, I actually have plans on the 18th, so we're
not gonna be here.
so we're gonna talk about. That's why I'm surprised.
We should put 2 people in here to do our show when we're not
my
here.
God, that would be awful. No, we can't do that.
We should do
we
that.
always need to have one
Mike
of us
Mike
here.
and Mike, they do it all the time. Why
Mike
not?
and Mike is a terrible show.
Okay, so we're much better.
Yes.
I'm saying, but I think it would be cool to have
I would
like
listen-
May Abdul-Baki and Kevin Sampson in here one weekend.
Oh no. I love them. I love them both. No.
Jeffrey Lyles and Kevin Sampson.
See, you're trying to start something. No.
What if we went out and got Kevin McCarthy and Dustin Putman in here?
So on this week's show, we're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel's latest film. Don't look at that. We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. We got to talk about that. I should have worn my Guardian shirt. In fact, I just told you I came back from a doubleheader of movies. I went to see Lucy and Hercules, just trying to play a little catch up. And,
1 out of 2 ain't bad. And keep doing what you do, man.
1 out of 2 is interesting. 1 is awful. And so I went to see both of those. And they had these limited edition Guardians of the Galaxy shirts there, and I should have bought one just for the show.
Was this at Angelica?
No. It was a Regal theater near my house.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Angelica is not showing Lucy or Hercules.
Oh yeah.
Believe me, I looked.
They had to get some time in for the movies that are playing this week.
Well, yeah. I mean, and plus, I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy there a second time last night. So and it was packed house.
I saw Guardians over the weekend as well.
You wouldn't see it again? Yeah. So it was a packed house.
Because I saw it on Thursday and I actually fell asleep on half of it. So
for Christ's sake. You weren't falling asleep, man.
But it wasn't that the movie is bad. I was tired. I'd been up.
Okay.
And like I whenever I feel like I miss like more than half a movie, I have to go back and see it again.
I hear
now
you.
there's another movie I saw at Angelica that I fell asleep on, and I saw
sucks.
enough that I'm good. I don't have to go back and see it.
Which movie
again.
is that?
I'm not saying.
Is it out now? I mean, it's out now, so you might as well just say
It
it.
is out now.
Okay, so what was
It's
it?
a Woody Allen movie.
Oh, well, that movie sucks too. All
Right,
right.
that's what I'm saying. I think I saw enough.
And then we didn't get a chance to even talk about that movie, did we?
Why even waste time?
Magic in the Moonlight.
Yeah. There's no magic.
No, there's no magic.
No, there's no magic.
No, there's no magic. There's no
And
magic.
as a person of faith, I was highly offended by one scene near the end.
Really? I'm
Yes,
actually
I
surprised
was.
by that.
Really?
Yeah, no, actually I am.
I didn't like that scene at all.
Before we go too much
Okay, well, stop. The scene that I'm talking about
Yeah,
is toward the
I'm
end of the
actually
film,
curious.
and you know what I'm talking about, where something has happened to a character, and Colin Firth comes in because he plays a guy who debunks folks
He's
who.
He's a debunker of myths and
myths.
spiritualists and things like that.
And at the end, he goes through a series where he begins to pray, and then halfway through, he breaks it off, talking about how ridiculous it was and the whole notion.
Oh, that's
now again, wait a minute. But again, as a person of faith, I was offended by that. And
Okay.
I'm not being funny. It didn't
I'm not.
rub me the right way.
I know you're not.
So that has nothing to do with my decision to not want to see it again.
Right.
But from what I saw of it, from the parts that I was awake, it wasn't really like,
I think that there is a way
let me just jump in really quick because I just want to say this one thing. Because I don't want people at home to think that I sleep through half movies and then half of a movie and then come and review them. When I say sleep, you've seen me do this. You've seen me do this. You might miss like 2 minutes of a scene and you come back.
I've seen you sleep through a lot of like whole movies before.
You've seen me. What whole movie have you seen me sleep through?
Rango.
You talking about that movie that happened like a year
You
and a
saw
half ago?
20 minutes of Rango.
I did, and I went back and saw it again. I felt really bad because I was
And-
like
and-
this for all
no,
Rango.
but that's not the funny part. The funny part is you saw 20 minutes of Rango
And it was great.
and woke up and left the movie theater going, man, what I saw looked really good. I was like, man, shut up.
Did I say anything out of school? The phrase was, for what I saw, it looked really good. The parts that I was awake for.
But then you could have seen 20 minutes of any movie and it looked good. I mean, you could probably pluck 20 good minutes out of Hercules, but it's not a good movie.
Are you saying Hercules is not a good movie?
Hercules is not a good movie.
I
Hercules
know.
is not a good
Watch
movie.
this.
And
I
it's-
know. I'm
it's
just
sad.
asking you.
It's sad. Look, I didn't get a chance to talk about
Wait,
it
but
last
here's
week, so
my
let me
question.
just go ahead and say Hercules is not a good movie. Is it better than The Legend of Hercules
Right,
we
that's
saw
what
at the
I was gonna
beginning?
ask you.
Yes, it is.
It is.
It is better than that because that one looked junky too. It looked bad and it had bad casting.
So you're
This one, at
saying that
least-
this one is horrible, but it's better than the one from
This
earlier
one does
this
not
year?
look bad at all. I mean, it actually looks good, and there's nothing wrong with Dwayne Johnson. But man, what? I don't even know what the hell was going on in it.
I do.
Nothing.
Much.
Nothing.
Not much.
Now, you want to talk about someone who almost fell asleep? I almost fell asleep during that. And that's Hercules. The last thing it should be is boring. That movie was boring. It was really boring.
It was not well executed at all.
Yeah, it was really boring. Now, Lucy, on the other hand, I wouldn't say it's really good, but I do like the fact that it's at least interesting.
I would agree.
It's at least interesting.
I think Lucy is mismarketed because people.
Oh yeah, it's not.
Like
It's
I was
not a
having a
straight up action movie.
conversation with a guy that works
movie.
here, and he was saying, "Hey, ladies." Hi. Hey. Anyway,
y'all sneaking
good.
around out here.
They tried to sneak by. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" The thing with Lucy is we had somebody who works here when I walked in was asking me about it, and he said he was a little disappointed. I said, "Yeah,
it's not
the
a straight up action
consensus
movie.
is that people think it's supposed to be like this really hardcore action movie
Because that's how it's marketed.
and hold on a second, we have an audience. This is really cool. Y'all gonna take pictures of this? We good? I'm sorry, Travis. Go ahead, man.
No, but you're right though. It's not a straight up action movie, which is how it's marketed. And when you hear that it's Luc Besson who's directing it, and that it's Scarlett Johansson starring in it, your first thought is this is going to be like his other movies, which are of the action genre.
Right.
So then you get in there and you watch it, and it's more philosophical. I mean, it's more intellectual. Right. It is actually exploring what happens when your brain increases its capacity and what you're capable of doing, and it's about the potential of man. So I mean, so there's a lot more to it than her just killing a bunch of Yakuza, although there's that too. Well,
the thing I liked about the movie, and I raved about it when I did it on my own separate show, was that the third act of the movie, when she has become 100% and she can do anything.
Goddamn weird.
I'd never seen anything like that, Travis. That whole
fucking strange.
Going through time sort of a deal. But I'm saying it was cool as hell the way it was executed.
Absolutely.
You didn't like that?
No, I didn't understand. I didn't know what the hell was going on. It was just weird. That part of it, I was just like, okay, I think they're going a little too far. That was the only thing that was it for me. Now the rest of the movie I thought was interesting. So, but. See, we need a cough button.
Yeah.
Like that one right there. So, but those are movies from last week. This week we'll talk Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm really interested in talking to you about Get On Up with Chadwick Boseman.
Why? Because I'm black?
That's the stupidest answer.
Because I'm old? Like I would remember James Brown? You really interested? Because why?
I didn't call you old, but if that's where you'd like to stand on this subject,
okay, that's like when I would say to you, man, we getting ready to talk Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm really interested in what you have to say about that. I would say that why? I would say that because I know you're a guy who has an affinity.
Because I go to Comic-Con and because I know this
so
stuff.
So why would I want to? Why are you interested in what I want to say about James Brown?
Because it stars Chadwick Boseman, and he's, to me, one of the most interesting actors working right now.
Yeah, that was a save. That's pretty good.
It's not a save.
That was pretty good.
It's
man.
the truth.
You wanted to call me old. That's what it was.
I can call you old any time of the day. I don't need to call you old for a specific movie.
By the way, people, these are jokes. By the way, I don't want you to think that Travis and I actually beefing. This is what we do all the time. And we haven't. Did we go to any screenings this week together? Or we because
yeah, we went to one.
You weren't Get On Up, right?
Yeah.
This week?
Yeah.
Damn.
We were at a screening together.
I really am old.
Yeah, you've already lost your mind.
Wow, man.
All right, so let's go ahead. Actually, let's go ahead and go. Let's start talking about Get On Up now. So let's go ahead and roll a clip from Get On Up.
Hit it. Put it. Right, I need that pop, day up, pop, but day up from the top, day up, pop, but day up from the top. Understand? The drop before the beat. You dig it?
What's it mean, the top of the bar? It means on a downbeat.
All right.
What's the problem?
Yes, Miss Hill.
We rehearsed it just like you told us. We got it just like you like it. Jimmy can't play that with the part he's got. We can change the part if you like.
Don't change it. Did I say change the part? Huh? Fellas, does it sound good?
Yeah.
Does it feel good?
Yeah.
God made your ears. You didn't make them. You gonna argue with God's ears? If it sound good and it feel good, then it's musical. So play it like I say play it.
Just play it like I said play it.
All right, we're back, and that was Get On Up. All right, Chadwick Boseman. So he's only done a handful of movies, really. He's done a few.
Like
right?
several. He hasn't done a lot of films at all.
a few prominent roles, right?
Yes.
So last year he did 42, where he played Jackie Robinson.
And a small movie that I saw called Kill Shot. Did you see that?
No, you told me about it.
Yeah.
He was also in The Express, where he played another real life person whose name I don't remember.
Yeah, he has this thing with sports films for whatever reason.
He does. So,
and he was in Draft Day a couple of months ago.
Damn, you're right. He wasn't drafted.
Yeah, with Kevin Costner.
I forgot all about
Yeah,
that.
he does the biopic thing.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, he does. So now he's as James Brown in Get On Up. Now this is directed by Tate Taylor, the guy who did The Help. Now I've had a few conversations about this movie already. Let me say right off the bat, I like this movie. Okay, I like this movie a lot, and the reasons why I like it is I appreciate the fact that it's not a point by point biopic, right? I like that because I get bored of biopics that just do that, just go from one beat to the next. This one, to me, takes a non-linear approach. It uses emotion to decide which scenes come where, which I think is great because it connects the things that happened to him in his past to the things that drove him in the future. I like that. I think that's really cool. And Boseman, as we got to look at right there in that clip, has James Brown down pat. Whether it's his perfectionist attitude, his slyness as a businessman, and of course his charisma and persona that we saw right there. I think he's damn near perfect in this. And Nelson Ellis too, the guy from True Blood, is also really good in this. My problem with it, I wish it got a little dirtier. This is a PG-13 movie for an R-rated life, and that's my issue. Now, I knew it was going to be that way as soon as they hired Tate Taylor, because he is the guy who gave us The Help. And as much as I like that movie, we can all admit it's a slightly glossier look at that time period than it actually was. So I kind of knew that was how it was going to be. But I still like this movie a lot. And Chadwick Boseman, to me, gave one of the best performances of the year. What did you think? Yeah?
All right, here we go, man. This is a tale of two movies, or two things for me. I'll start with the good. Chadwick Boseman is explosive as James Brown.
Right.
I've been saying all week, and I draw the comparison, that I think about a film like Ray. And I'll talk about the Ray comparison again in a second.
Valid comparison.
If Jamie Foxx can win an Oscar playing Ray Charles, you have got to nominate Chadwick Boseman for playing James Brown.
I agree.
Now, the reason why is that every time he's on screen, he's asked what they ask him to do in this movie is more than they asked Jamie Foxx to do in Ray. In Ray, you're playing a character that's blind, so you've got that kind of disability happening, but you're playing somebody who just plays the piano, and you just see, from the head up, him playing the piano, and then there's the dramatic things that happen in his life. In James Brown's story, you've got to tackle not only the makeup and the look, but you've got to get the sound of the character down, because everybody knows what James Brown sounds like. Then there are the performances that are in the movie.
You got to get the physicality
that you got to
down.
nail. You got to nail that as well. And Chadwick Boseman knocks that out the park.
Absolutely.
Now, to me, he is primarily the reason to see this movie. Because outside of Nelson Ellis, who played Bobby Bird, I don't think any of the other characters in this movie are developed well at all.
No. Absolutely,
now,
I agree.
There's a couple of scenes where there's misfortune that happens in James Brown's life, and you see James Brown react. And I'm looking around the audience, nobody's feeling any of this stuff because Tate Taylor does a piss poor job, in my opinion, of developing these characters. Now, I heard you say that the movie needed to be dirtier. I would agree. I think the two biggest aspects that I think this film fails with is that the first aspect is the time. This movie is 2 hours and 18 minutes long. For a life
is that long?
2 hours and 18 minutes long. For a
feel that way
life
to
that
me.
James Brown led, I would honestly have been comfortable watching a 2:45, a 3 hour long film that encompassed so much more. I talked about Ray earlier. It looked as if Tate Taylor and his team of producers literally ripped off the Ray blueprint to try to Get On Up. You talked about the structure of the film, like this non-linear structure.
Right.
Again, I got it, but there were a whole lot of people who were really confused by that. They didn't understand.
There were a couple people next to me who were confused too.
Who would see something now, and then you wouldn't see it follow up again for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
And the problem and the reason why they were confused is because there was very little follow up for certain things that happened.
Right.
Like there's a scene there where It actually takes place not long after that scene we showed, where he just blows up on everybody and basically gets rid of everybody.
Right.
And that includes Bobby Bird, right? Bobby Bird's out of there. But the very next scene, Bobby Bird is back.
Right.
And it's like,
there's no explanation.
Right, there's no explanation for it. And stuff like that happens all the time in the movie. And
right.
I think you kind of just got to it's frustrating, but you either can get with it or you can't.
All right,
you know, and I guess it's kind of like James Brown's music. You either can get with it or you can't.
Well, but Travis, this leads me to the biggest omission, the thing that I really think drove me crazy. Now, between you and I, we've got like a 15-year age difference, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm still too young to have known James's music in his heyday. I'm talking about like in the 60s, 50s, and 60s. But I caught James Brown exclusively in the 70s as a 9, 10-year-old kid.
James Brown for me, first thing was like Rocky IV.
Rocky IV, right?
Rocky IV,
I knew you were
like
going to say that. but I was going to say the biggest issue that I had with this movie, and it could have been solved with like a montage at the end of the film, and Tate Taylor wasn't wise enough to think of this, is the impact and influence that James Brown had. You talk about the Rolling Stones when Mick Jagger produced this film.
Produced it. And,
and the
Rolling Stones make a brief appearance in the movie, younger.
I'm talking Michael Jackson, Prince, Usher, Bruno Mars. I mean, tons of artists over the last 20 or 30 years, not even counting hip-hop, that his music was the basis of hip-hop. The movie doesn't address his impact or his influence at all. And I think that, to me, is the biggest slight with this movie. And you're absolutely right. It needed to be dirtier. It needed to be longer for a life. I mean, there's the omissions of, Tammy Terrell, the omissions of so many things that James Brown did.
Right.
It didn't make the movie. Now, I know Spike Lee used to get this argument back in the day where people would walk up to him and go, well, why does your movie not have this or your movie not have that? And Spike would say something like, you need to make your own movie. Yeah. Well, in this case, I'm not really sure if there's going to be another James Brown movie that can get to the masses in the way that this one did. So you got one shot at it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Tate Taylor just didn't knock it out the park.
And this movie has been in the works for a long time. I mean, this movie's been around since James Brown was still alive. Right. I mean, this movie has been going around for a minute. So I mean, the people that were involved in it are all James Brown's like supporters, big time, and Mick Jagger is one of them. Mick Jagger considers James Brown one of his heroes.
Right,
you're right. So we, this was not going to be let's get underneath the fingernails version of James Brown. So we get a couple of scenes with him showing the domestic abuse, with Jill Scott playing one of his wives, who gets smacked around a little bit, but then we never get any consequences of it. We get a lot of scenes where James Brown is sort of breaking the fourth wall, talking to us, right. But a lot of the times it's just reaction shots. Like he'll go off on his team, and then he'll look at us like, yeah, I'm kind of being a dick right now, or he'll smack around his wife, and he'll look at us like he's regretful, but no consequences of it. But then there are those other times where he'll look at us like, yeah, I got this right now, So I mean, so there's stuff like that where it's kind of frustrating, and you're just like, you really want him to get in there. But the thing that really, real quick, the thing that really got me, that I kind of just wish if they're going to touch on it at all, they should have given it more time, or just not do it at all. Which was the thing where it was days after Martin Luther King was assassinated,
right?
And they kind of tried to make it seem like he was this, like he was really deep into the race relations of the time and stuff like that. And he holds his concert trying to stop the protest, basically. I kind of just wish they hadn't even touched on it at all. They
didn't give enough time. I have a feeling that if you see the director's cut, because I'm sure they shot a lot more, but the way Tate Taylor edits it, like you said, it's frustrating because there's stuff that gets glossed over, barely touched. But I was going to say, Travis, the thing that I found really frustrating about it is that the opening scene of this movie had so much promise. If they could have stayed...
The opening scene sets the tone for exactly how the rest of the movie is going to be.
But unfortunately, if they would have taken that opening scene and then tried to do this kind of biopic that kind of followed that tone, because that tone, even though you said it sets the stage, it was such a great scene. If
was
you
a great
made the
scene.
rest of the movie like that scene, I think you don't have the arguments that a lot of people have
was
about
a,
this film.
It was a great scene, and for those who haven't seen it, and not spoiling anything here,
spoiling it, man. Don't tell 'em.
the opening scene is basically James Brown at his lowest point. Okay, this is was 1986, 1988, the day he got arrested after that car chase with the
But
police.
this is earlier in the day.
Right. So it starts off with that scene, and this is, like I said, this is him at his basically at his lowest point, and it's played up for laughs. I mean, it's played up as comical. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, that was an odd start. It was funny, but it's kind of odd.
It started out odd, and then I guess toward the end of the scene where he really pulls the woman up and he's kind of like explaining to it, I guess that in a way saved it. But you're right, the way it's shot, I mean, I thought it was a great scene, but it is an odd way to begin a movie like that.
Yeah, really
Even
weird.
though it was, but I like the scene though.
Yeah, but then they get so much other stuff that's right, and clearly the focus of this movie was meant to be on his career and his relationship with Bobby Bird more than anything else, right? So that stuff they get exactly right. And we talked about the performances he gives on stage. He does not sing everything. He sings along with the James Brown tracks, which is what he usually does.
Well, that's not true.
Well,
I mean, when he did the interview with us, he told us he sung a third of the songs that were in the movie.
I heard that he sings along with James Brown's tracks most of the time.
He said he sung a third. He said there were three. He said there's one instance of a song in there.
Mm-hmm.
He said the one version is all James that he kind of lip sync. He said the second one,
I heard that
he had to actually sing it.
I heard there were some smaller things that he had to sing.
Well, I mean, he did some singing.
Regardless, he did
right.
some. Regardless of that, the fact is that they really do feel like they have the energy of live performances, which I think is the best part about them. All of them do. All of those performances that he gives as James Brown are great. And like I said, I think he gets a lot of the complexity of James Brown down. And my issues have nothing to do with him or Nelson Ellis, or even the other performances. The characters aren't fleshed out very well. Viola Davis as his mom.
Dude, can she stop playing that role? Didn't I just see her play that in Antoine Fisher?
Lenny James as
Like,
as his father. They're both terrible parents. Octavia Spencer wasted as his aunt. But their performances are good. It's just nothing to do. I thought Dan Aykroyd is really good actually too.
But who did he play, man?
But they didn't. I know he played his manager, and I don't even remember his name. But
Right.
But the fact is, their performances are fine. It's just the way that they were written. They're not. None of them are developed very well outside of Brown and Bird.
Yeah, that's your story right there. And I wish you had the clip, man. And I don't even think they performed the song in the movie where the famous line where Bobby Bird goes, "What you gonna play now?"
No, they don't play that.
And he goes, "Bobby, I don't know. But what's the never I'm gonna." But hey, man, I just think honestly though, at the end of the year, the thing that if the studio, which studio released this film? Is this Universal or who did Get On Up?
Is this a Warner Brothers movie?
I don't know. Let me double check. But whatever studio, no, it's Universal. I was right.
Okay.
What Universal should be doing right now is toward November. You know how we normally get our screeners? They need to really push Chadwick Boseman, man, because I believe there's a nomination there if you can push it.
I think so too. And,
the only reason why he can't win is because the movie, like we talked about Ray is a much better story than Get On Up is.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the only reason why I don't think he could win, but there's a nomination to be had.
I think there's also the potential in the movie just not, and not performing well enough. I mean, we do expect some of these movies, especially
what did it open today?
14 million.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
14 million. So it didn't open really strong either. There's that potential in that hurting it also. But I can see them putting something like this out in a re-release like later on in a year. They probably should for like a limited run, for like a week or 2 weeks, so that people can see it again and at least judge his performance.
14 million?
Yeah.
Oof.
It costs like 30.
Ooh, that's not good.
No, it's not great. It's not terrible either, but it's not great for a biopic like this. Not a lot of huge names involved, other than James Brown. It's not terrible. 42 made 95 million last year, which I was surprised by. But 42 had.
I'm almost going to say 42 came out the box stronger than 14 million.
It did. It made 27 million. 42 made 27 million last year in its first week. But
you're right. 14. Wow.
Yeah, I had to write up the box office this morning, so I know I was doing comparisons. But yeah, so 42 came out stronger last year, and that was another performance I thought was Oscar worthy. You know, I thought he was really good in that too.
I thought he would have a tough road to hoe last year because I knew coming down the pipe there were so many performances.
Yeah, there were so many. And of course, last year we had the thing where there were like 4 or 5 African American performances that could possibly be nominated. Yeah, and it was like none of them do, but it was like
one of them did. She was hell easier for
right. One did, but we were like, man, you could see like 3 or 4 black people get nominated for Best Actor this year. Yeah, right. That ain't gonna happen. And of course it didn't. But I was surprised by how totally they were shut. The other ones were shut out.
Well, you know the irony. The movie that I think got screwed the worst last year. If they would have held Fruitvale Station back one more year, I think it might have had a better shot this year.
They didn't even need to do that. They should have had it come out when it was originally supposed to in like October, and he would have been nominated.
Right, but it just made no sense to me. I thought the placement of that movie last year just doomed it, man, because it really got it just gets shut out. I mean, think about this for 1 second. The Black Reel Awards, the one that you vote on, that we put on every year, it got 9 nominations and took home 9. None last year. 0 for 9. I mean, it was just a bad year last year. It's a bad year, man.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think, when I think about this performance, I'm trying to think, what are the other male lead performances that we're thinking could be nominated this year?
You're talking about in this year?
The same year.
I'm going to tell you, Matthew McConaughey, from what I've been looking at from Interstellar looks like it's going to be a monster later on this year.
I know enough about Interstellar that I'm not so sure that will be the case.
You don't think McConaughey, coming off of last year,
I'm not so sure.
In a Christopher Nolan movie,
I'm not so sure he's in it enough to qualify for that. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the Academy has shown you, man, you don't have to be in a movie long. I mean, you remember Silence of the Lambs.
I think
what's his name was in it 20 minutes and won a Best Actor Oscar.
I think we're going to see Michael Fassbender for Frank get nominated.
No,
I absolutely do.
What
comes
studios,
out this month? By the way,
what studio's releasing it?
I don't remember.
See, because remember the one thing, Travis, and we have to be responsible when we talk in our audience. Oscar campaigns cost money.
Absolutely.
So if you've got A24 as your distributor or I'm not being funny. I'm just being real.
I hear you.
If you don't have enough money to mount an Oscar campaign, you can have an Oscar-worthy performance and or film. It's just not gonna happen.
I think it's gonna happen for him, but we'll see.
Fassbender's good.
By the way,
in Frank.
He's more than good. This
is a movie that you raved about at Sundance.
Oh my God!
You convinced me. We went back. You saw it the second time. I saw it the first time.
You remember when I talked about with The Raid 2, where I said I love this movie so much I don't want it to come out so other people can't see it.
Right.
So I can just keep it to myself.
Right.
That's how I feel about Frank. I really don't want people to be able to see it. Like, I want it to come out and like one copy of the DVD is sent out to me, and nobody else gets to see it. Like, it just it becomes this thing that I keep talking about, and this myth.
Well, let me ask you a question. You told me that one of the movies that came out this week is the
One I Love.
We should do that at the end of the show. We really should, because I really want to talk to you about that, because we looked at each other and raved about it when we saw it at Sundance. We should talk about that movie. We can save it for the end. We should go and talk about Guardians now.
No. The thing is about The One I Love that I would like to do, because it's on demand, we can talk about it anytime. I would say let's hold it for next week when I can bring a clip so other people can get a taste of it.
Oh my God, man! What a concept!
I'm trying. I want a concept. But look. I agree with you. I want to talk about it too. I'm just saying we should do it next week when we can show people some of it.
All right. Well, let's go and talk about the movie that kicked all butt this weekend.
Let's go ahead and roll a clip of Guardians of the Galaxy and talk about that on the other side.
Woman, your words mean nothing to me.
Hey. Oh, crap. You know, if killing Ronan is truly your sole purpose, I don't think this is the best way to go about it.
Are you not the man this wench attempted to kill?
Well, I mean, she's hardly the first woman to try and do that to me. Look.
This is like from a smoking hot Ray Jack girl.
Stabbed me with a fork. Didn't like me skipping out on her at sunrise. I got right here a Cree girl. Tried to rip out my thorax. She caught me with this skinny little Oscar-Varian who worked in Nova Records. I was trying to get information. Ever see an Oscar-Varian? Tentacles, needles for teeth. I think I'm seriously interested in that. You don't care. But here's the point. She betrayed Ronan. He's coming back for her. And when he does, that's when you
Why would I put my finger on his throat?
What? Oh, no, it's a symbol. This is a symbol for you slicing his throat.
I would not slice his throat. I would cut his head clean off.
It's a general expression for you killing somebody. You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
No.
Oh my God,
man, we're laughing already, man. All right.
Man, you should let me start on this one.
I'm gonna let
because
you
this is-
start with it because
Man, let me tell you something.
this is your introduction to the Guardians of the
It
Galaxy.
really is.
So go ahead and start, man.
Now, you and I talked about this, and I remember you were really hyped for this, and I was like, I'm not getting it, man. I'm looking at these commercials. The commercials look real stupid. What's up with the talking raccoon? There's a tree. I don't get any of this stuff. And the first time I went to see it, I was watching it, and I told you I had just finished teaching a class, and I was trying to get it in because I had to review it the next day. And I slept through portions of it. So I said, I got to go back and watch it again. So I go back Friday night and watch the movie.
Packed house.
Packed house,
Yep.
standing room only.
Yep.
And dude, I'm watching this movie. And as I told you, as we were watching this clip, to me, it's really interesting because this is the 10th movie in Marvel's cinematic universe. And it's the first movie to not have any of the Avengers characters. There's no Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America.
Right.
This is just something brand new, something different for Marvel, for audiences like me.
Yep.
So I'm watching the story, right? And it's an origin story. And I love the aspect, the setup that the movie opens with what's his name? Peter Quill.
Peter Quill, Star-Lord.
It's 1988. His mother is on his deathbed. He is in the room, doesn't want to accept the inevitable. She passes. He's distraught. He runs outside, and only in a Marvel movie would a spaceship just show up out of nowhere and hijack him. And then the movie moves forward to the present day, 26 years later, to put us in 2014. And you have this elaborate story of Peter Quill, known by his other name, which I think is really cool, Star-Lord, who is
It's not cool until we find out why he's called Star-Lord.
We haven't found that out yet.
We do find it out later on in the movie.
In this movie, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that part. Did I fall asleep again?
It happens at the very end when he gets a certain gift.
Oh, okay, all right. Now that makes sense.
Right.
All right, but he is trying to retrieve an orb, and this orb puts all the events of the film into play, which brings him together.
It's the classic Marvel plot. It's one giant MacGuffin that everybody needs to go and find.
There you go.
or prevent from getting into the bad guy's hands. It is the classic Marvel plot. I mean, all the Marvel movies, with the exception, well, even sort of like the Captain America movies too, they all have it. We have to get this thing and make sure this bad guy doesn't get it and destroy everything. That's the basic plot.
So that brings us in play with two bounty hunters, Rocket the raccoon, voiced by Bradley Cooper, who is just funny, and Groot, his partner, who the only line he has that he repeats over and over is "I am Groot," voiced by Vin Diesel. Then later on there's Gamora, which is Zoe Saldana, who is sent by, and that part got really confusing to me because
There's a lot that's confusing.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that your family's killed. You've been abducted by this guy and loaned out to this guy. Am I about correct?
Yeah. Thanos, who's the big bad villain of the entire Marvel franchise at this point, is killed her family and took her and basically turned her into a weapon. And he calls her his daughter, but he's not really.
Right.
And then she has a half sister, Nebula, played by Karen Gillan, who is still working for Thanos and Ronan the Accuser. Now here's where I'm gonna get the stuff I don't like out of the way.
Go ahead.
Right? Because I do like this movie a lot. I'm gonna get the stuff I don't like out of the way. First of all, there's the familiarity of the plot, which I already mentioned, sort of. But also, I feel like, and this is probably a problem of production more than anything else. We first saw Thanos, who was voiced by Josh Brolin, by the way, voiced by Josh Brolin, at the end of the first Avengers movie. He was originally set up to be the bad guy for this movie, right? And it makes sense. Thanos has ties to every single member of the Guardians of the Galaxy in some way, right? So either they've killed somebody, he's killed somebody they love, or he's had a hand in their creation, something.
But he also has ties outside of these guys, right?
Oh yeah. He has ties everywhere.
Yeah.
He has ties everywhere. But in terms of this team in particular, he's a uniquely perfect villain for them to fight.
Right.
But then a decision was made to make him the bad guy for Avengers 3.
Right.
And so there was this need to kind of put him into the background for this movie. And so we get Ronan the Accuser, played by Lee Pace.
Right.
And Ronan is not a good villain. Ronan's a very boring villain because he's kind of a religious fanatic, kind of a megalomaniac. They can't really decide. Doesn't really matter. His scheme is pretty bland. And he's just not a very cool villain. And that kind of hurts the finale for me a little bit because he's just not that interesting. So that's my big issue with it. And it was weird to watch them try and force Thanos into the movie when it should have been really easy. It should have been really easy. So that's my beef with it. But what I actually love about it is every scene that these characters are together.
Wait a minute. Let's back up for a second.
Yeah,
you said
please.
they're trying to force Thanos into the movie.
They put Thanos in there in a couple scenes, and it was just like.
But why would the writers of this film, I think in this case, James Gunn and Nicole Perlman, not feature Thanos and put Ronan in instead? I mean, explain that because you're explaining it to the audience, but explain it to me as well.
Yeah, I know. I just said it because they're saving him for the Avengers 3. So the decision was made.
So he couldn't be the villain in this film and that film.
No, you got to hold him.
Okay.
If you're gonna make him the big bad villain because he's basically the big villain of the entire series.
Why would you put him in the movie at all then if you don't need to feature him?
I agree.
Oh, okay. All right.
I agree. They shouldn't have put him in there at all. I mean, they could have had him just be totally in shadow the entire time, like he was in the Avengers, or had him come in at the end. But it seemed like every scene they had him in, he was only in a couple of scenes in the movie, but they felt unnecessary. So that's my thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's my thing. But every scene that these characters are together is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, they're funny.
Oh, they're really funny. This is the most overtly comedic movie Marvel's ever done. And we knew it was going to be funny and it was going to have this sort of offbeat tone because they hired James Gunn to do it. And James Gunn did the movie Slither, which is a horror comedy, which is funny. Right. He did the movie Super that had Ellen Page and Rainn Wilson in it. That's kind of funny. And he wrote this other superhero movie called The Specials, which is not so funny, but it's trying to be.
But let me just jump in for a second. There's one scene that I really got a kick out of.
Okay.
Is when they were trying to escape from prison, and Rocket the Raccoon brings the team together and says, these are the items we need and we're going to break out. And one of the items, there was a guy who had a prosthetic leg. Yeah. And he's like, I need the leg. I need this light. Groot gets the light. And at the end,
he's not supposed to.
Right, they get the leg, and they're about to take off, and he goes, "Here's the leg," and he goes, "Oh, I didn't really need that, man. I just thought it would be funny, to have the."
That stuff is really funny.
Hilarious.
And they're all really good together. I mean, this is why this movie is the fact that it's opened with $94 million, breaking the August record, is such a big deal because a few months ago, this was Marvel's riskiest gamble. This movie. And I had a conversation with this about just earlier today with somebody that if we knew now that Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be as big a hit as it turned out to be, we probably wouldn't have had all those issues that arose with Ant-Man and Edgar Wright. Because their thing was they were facing 2 out of 3 movies that were big risks. Because Ant-Man is another character most people don't know about or care about. Right? So they were probably worried and looking at that going, look, we got 2 movies that might flop. And 2 movies that flop is a good way to kill a franchise.
All right, so you just said something that made sense to me. Captain America: Winter Soldier, which opened in April, opened exactly with the same amount of money, the identical opening. They opened with 95. This movie opened with 94 million. So that movie right now is at 258 million. Would Guardians of the Galaxy be a success at 260 million?
Here's the thing about Captain America has $713 million worldwide.
Okay, so I'm saying a domestic number. Would that be a success?
Yes, that'd be a huge success.
Okay,
that'd be a huge success. Now the only thing they have to worry about is that it have one of those Godzilla drops like in week 2, because Godzilla made I think 90 million his first week or 89 million his first week, and then really struggled to get past $200 million domestic. It was out forever in order to get that money. I'm
trying to find out right now what's opening next week because I have a feeling at Galaxy, if there's really no competition, this movie should really kick butt.
It should.
Week 2.
It should because this is clearly the most fun movie Marvel has ever done.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I think to me it kind of felt like Star Wars meets Firefly. And I agree. And I don't know if you ever watched Firefly or not.
No, I did not.
Okay, well,
I actually have the DVDs at the house. I never watched it.
You want to say something? Yeah, Firefly is awesome.
Firefly, watch
but
it.
the tone is just like this. And
I love
Firefly,
when he jumps in and goes, watch it.
Firefly is a Joss Whedon show.
Right.
So I don't know if Whedon had any impact on the way Guardians of the Galaxy was structured, but in terms of tone, they're exactly the same. It's sort of this offbeat, quirky space western style, and that scene at the end where the big battles are happening, it feels so much like Star Wars.
This movie will do 55 to 60 million next week. I'm looking at what's opening next week. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is going to be a big one.
Well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is going to do good next week, so we'll see. It's going to do well.
You think that'll knock this film out the top spot?
It could. Yeah.
Would knock Guardians out?
It could, yes. It could. Okay. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has a big fan base, and whether we like it or not, Michael Bay-related movies make a lot of money. Doesn't mean Guardians of the Galaxy is going to do bad next week. It could make 30 million, 40 million next week and still lose the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah. So we'll see.
I
don't
think so, but you're also talking to a man who's never seen any of the teenage.
I just saw the movie over the weekend.
Ninja Turtles, and is not going to see this one either.
You should actually go see it.
No,
but I know you're not going to.
No.
But all right, whatever. All right, I'm not going to get into the
conversation. Make the case, man. Make the case for me. Why should I go see it?
I don't understand why you wouldn't go see that, but go see something like Guardians of the Galaxy, which you know nothing about.
Oh no, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think is fun.
But you didn't know it was fun until you saw it.
Right, but let me just revel. Let me just revel in ignorance and hate right now. Let me throw shade on some talking turtles. Come on, man, really.
What I'll say about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles without reviewing it, because that's for next week, is that those who like the Turtles as children, like I did, I read the comics. I have the entire cartoon series on DVD at my house. Mm-hmm. You will not walk away saying, "Damn it, Michael Bay shit all over my Turtles." You won't walk away saying that. You'll be fine. He does not destroy.
I'm so glad Travis is going to go solo on this movie next week.
I know. So you really should go see it, man.
Teenage friggin' Mutant Ninja dang Turtles. By the time they started making those cartoons, I was 30. The hell I wanted to see that for?
Okay, well, the Guardians of the Galaxy team didn't get popular until you were older than 30.
All right, if you want me to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, tell Marvel to make it, and then I'll go check it out.
Come on, all right. Well,
and while we're on this subject, man, let me just say something, man, and give you some props. You and I, since the time we've gotten together to do shows, and every time we talk about these comic superhero films, I've always sided that I'm a DC guy, you're a Marvel guy. And I was throwing hate on Marvel, and I was talking about, how when Batman, after Christopher Nolan, I'm cocky, like, man, hey, this is only the beginning. DC's gonna get this thing together.
I like your cockiness for something you ain't do.
Watch this. I was cocky because as a representative of the DC comic nation, as a DCer, and I'm not talking about Washington, I'm talking about the comics, I was like thinking that at some point, cooler heads would prevail over at Warner Brothers, and they would get Wonder Woman off the ground, Batman, Superman, make this thing work, and really kick Marvel in the cojones with these B-level characters. Not gonna happen. You know why it's not gonna happen? Because Marvel has a plan. So if this was sports, right, and on one sideline of the football field was Marvel, and on the other side was DC, Marvel would be winning like 48-0 right now. They are smoking DC because DC, instead of adopting Marvel's model and trying to do standalone films and trying to plot it out and figuring out at some point we do different standalone films, bring them together like the Avengers, we do the Justice League, and then introduce more characters, spin off some of these guys. You guys are trying to jam in the entire DC universe into one movie, and while you're jamming them all into one movie, Marvel is on their way to Avengers 2, Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's ridiculous, man.
Well, Marvel has 8 open release dates right now that they're waiting for titles. That's how crazy they've already planned it out. I mean, they said that they have it all mapped out through 2028. They have it officially mapped out through 2019, which is still crazy. But I mean, in regards to what you're saying, though, I hear you. The Marvel plan has worked. You would think everybody would try to emulate it, and a lot of them do. A lot of them are trying to emulate it. I appreciate Warner Brothers trying to do something different. Look, I appreciate. Look, I don't want everybody to just copy Marvel. That'd be boring.
Let's talk about what Warner Brothers is doing.
Well, if we're gonna talk about what Warner Brothers is doing, I was at Comic-Con, so I did see what they're bringing to the table.
And
with Batman vs Superman,
and
it's impressive. It's impressive.
You think so?
And if we're gonna talk about who had the better Hall H panel at Comic-Con this year, it was Warner Brothers.
Okay, stop.
Warner Brothers had a better panel than Marvel.
Why do you think Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice is impressive compared to what Marvel has laid out? Because we're talking one single film, Travis.
All I said was who had the better presentation at Comic-Con. That's all I said.
Tell the audience about what I can't find online, that they showed you a clip.
I had it online for a few dadays. I had the clip online for a few days until they took it down.
Talk to me about it, man.
Okay. I mean, all right. So the Warner Brothers panel at Comic-Con, and the Hall H at Comic-Con is where the big stuff happens, right? All the big announcements happen. You're basically sitting outside for 24 hours to get in there, which I did. I was out there Friday and Saturday. I was out on the sidewalk all day waiting to get in. That's just kind of how it is. All night, I should say, to get in for the next day. So Warner Brothers kicked off Friday, and it was the big presentation, the first big presentation. That's just actually Warner Brothers and Marvel were both on the same day, both Saturday. Yeah. So anyway, they showed this teaser for Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, and it's Batman on the roof in the rain in the night. He's got the Dark Knight Returns armor on, which is awesome in and of itself. Mm-hmm. Seeing it on screen is very cool. He's at the bat signal, right? Mm-hmm. He lights up the bat signal just as we're used to seeing it. The sky lights up with the beam, but rather than seeing the bat signal in there, it's Superman waiting at the top, looking down, eyes red, flaring, like he's really angry. And that's basically the end of it, but it was enough to blow the roof off the place. And they had these big screens. They didn't do this for any other panel during the day. Well, they did for The Hobbit. They just spread everything out, so you had like 3 or 4 screens surrounding the entire room, and you had the posters of all the characters: Henry Cavill as Superman, Ben Affleck as Batman, and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. So that was our first look at her as Wonder Woman. She looks great. Then all 3 of them came on stage, took pictures, then walked off. I don't even know why they bothered to come out. But that was actually really, really cool. And compared to what Marvel gave us later in the day, Marvel's was a bit of a disappointment.
Marvel keeps giving you hits.
No, it does. I'm just talking about what they did at Comic-Con. That's all. And Marvel's and the reason why Marvel's was disappointing was because we had such high expectations. I mean, I've been there 3 or 4 years in a row. Marvel's presentation is always the number one. It's always the best. It's always awesome.
Right.
This year, we got Avengers: Age of Ultron footage, and it looks great. It looks amazing. Hulk versus the Hulkbuster armor. Ultron kicking everybody's ass. The Avengers hanging out in Tony's Playboy mansion, trying to lift Thor's hammer. Nobody can do it except for Captain America a little bit. The stuff like that is awesome. It's cool. But that was basically it. We got to see some Ant-Man footage, and it looked sort of blah to me. It didn't look impressive.
It looked blah.
Yeah, and I can only blame Peyton Reed for that because he's not Edgar Wright as a director.
Man, I am so mad that I can't see this scene, man.
The Warner Brothers got their hands on all those things.
Yeah,
man.
They took all that stuff down.
They took it all down because I put 2 different versions of it up. They got both of them. So,
did they really?
Yeah. I mean, I actually no. But I didn't put either one of them on our site. I put a link to them on our site because I didn't want Warner Brothers coming after me. I just linked to the guy who had the videos in both cases. Let them deal with him, not me.
You mean this scene right
that's
here?
That's it right there. Yeah, that's it. It's unfortunate that we can't transfer that up to the screen.
Oh man, that's nice.
See, he's sitting there looking at something y'all can't see. That's some crap. That's some crap, y'all.
Wait a second. No! Oh, damn.
See?
Oh, that's hot.
This is the best I could do in last second.
Oh, see?
That's it. You found it. All right, hold on a second. Show that to the audience. does Batman ever defeat Superman?
All right, a couple things real quick. First of all, that was everybody. You heard the reaction from that one guy. That's how everybody was during this thing, right? Everybody's like, "Oh my god, oh shit!" So that's how the day started, right? So that's why when they show stuff like that. That's why you wait all day to get into Hall H for stuff like that. For exactly that reason.
That's nice.
Exactly that reason.
That was nice.
That makes the whole night staying outside on the sidewalk worth it.
Batman is like, oh, damn.
But second, Warner Brothers is going to kill us when that thing goes up in the air.
Oh, no.
When they try to put that joint up on YouTube, they're going to be like, look, man, y'all got to take that joint down. But
look, Travis, look at my face.
Yeah, I know. They're going to be like, yeah, I can take that joint down. But,
hey, we do it for y'all. We do it for y'all.
Warner Brothers, we giving you credit now. I know that guy wasn't supposed to steal it, but
courtesy of Warner Brothers.
It's not even courtesy of them, though.
Man,
it's courtesy of some dude who had a camera phone.
We're gonna get so in trouble. Like, I heard y'all leaked some footage on.
But anyway, in terms of how Batman, I mean, in the comics, Batman has beaten Superman a couple times.
How?
Batman's the smartest man in the world in the DC universe, basically, or one of them. He can outsmart anybody.
I just need to see this, man, because again, I keep hearing you say, "Watch this." I trust you, right? Because I know you and people like Julian Lytle. You know, you Darryl Lockhart. You guys have comic swag. I just don't see a way that the world's greatest detective can take down the Man of Steel. I just don't see.
He's more than just a detective, though.
Damn, that's a great scene.
I mean,
man.
Batman has detailed plans for beating everybody. That includes Wonder
Woman. I keep hearing that.
Yeah, he has detailed plans to beat everybody. So he has a plan. I mean, what's he knows what everybody's weakness is. He knows what Superman's weakness is.
This. That's why you guys watch Addicted to Film. You're not gonna see that anywhere else. Hell, I never saw it anywhere else. Man, that was nice.
So you can imagine how big, how the place just blew up after that right there. I mean, that was insane. So.
I feel a little better, man, but I still think we're gonna get smoked in the long game. We might have a big opening with this, but the long game, I just don't. We
need to see the long game first. Then the thing
they
about
don't have a long game.
I don't think that's true. I think they do. Warner Brothers isn't stupid. Warner Brothers has been making franchises for a long. In fact, that's all they do is make franchises. They don't do anything else. They don't make small movies.
Right.
So I believe there is a plan. I mean, we've seen a layout of what their schedule is, quote unquote. I don't quite believe it, but I believe they have a plan.
Excuse me, is that Omar Little on your chest from Wire?
Yeah.
I just looked at the camera and went, "Why you got Omar Little on your chest?"
Yeah, I have Omar Little on my chest.
Huh. Interesting.
It took you 55 minutes to notice that. But it's
cool.
cool.
And by the way,
it's
before we get out of here,
don't talk about that guy who got stabbed.
What are you talking about? I was gonna say I'm gonna throw it to you, but at the end of the show.
I thought you were gonna talk about that guy from The Wire that you got stabbed.
Well, since you brought it up, man, I was at the Summer Spirit Festival yesterday up in Meriwether Post.
Had an extra ticket, didn't you?
Here in DC, I did actually have an extra ticket and an extra VIP pass. And we hung out backstage looking at Anwar Glover, who played Slim Charles on The Wire. He hung out, he performed. And I come in here today, and all online, he got stabbed last night. And I went, well, how is that possible? I just left you last night. And then he went downtown to Cafe Asia.
And I maintained that something you said to him during the course of the night got that man hurt.
That is amazing to me.
I don't know what it is that you did.
He's actually been a presenter at the Black Reel Awards one year. Him and a bunch of guys from,
He didn't have anything else to do?
The Wire.
He didn't have anything else to do that day?
Him and a bunch of guys on The Wire showed up and presented an award at the Black Reel Awards.
Really? What other guys?
See, you're just jealous because you've never presented at the Black Reel Awards.
I don't want to present at the Black Reel Awards.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
What show are you ever going to have an opportunity to present at?
Who knows? Maybe the Critics' Choice.
Are you planning on going this year?
I don't know, man. We'll talk about that later.
That means no.
Doesn't mean anything. It means we'll talk about it later.
What's this? I'm going.
Okay. That's
going?
awesome. I don't know.
That means no.
It doesn't mean no. It just means
Are you going to the Black Film Critic Celebration this year?
What? No. Are they doing another one?
Of course not. I'm being funny.
Yeah.
They're not enough
I was going
films.
to say, what movies are they going to talk about?
Selma, Annie, Get On Up.
Annie. I don't want Annie. I don't want
Belle. How much time do we have left?
We got left, man.
I gotta start wrapping up.
We
All right.
We gotta get out of here.
I think episode 18 next week, man, is gonna be a crappy week, man. The latest film in the Step Up franchise opens cold.
It's open cold, so we ain't gonna see it anyway.
Right, it's
So
opening
doesn't matter.
cold.
We have
because
Ninja
it's
Turtles
terrible.
next week. We have Ninja Turtles next week, and I really want to talk to you about Calvary. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but if you haven't, you should go see it.
No.
All right. then
I'll be spending some time watching movies. I'll be playing catch up.
All right.
But Travis, I want to welcome you back, man. You know, it was good having you back in here instead of Travis Light, which is Kevin Sampson.
I'm sure he likes that name.
He does.
That label.
And Travis, I give you the last word, man.
God damn. All right, so we'll see you. We'll see you guys next week for Teenage Mutant Ninja
Inside
Turtles.
joke, people.
It's been fun. I'm glad to be back. We'll see you guys next week.
Take care.
Your name, but your style is uniquely insane. Wonder if you try and head to the crib, maybe smoke a little Jane. Them lame niggas you